Welcome back. I'm the Watch King. In this video, we are going over the worst jeweler I've ever dealt with. Now, this is the worst of the worst because, first of all, I dealt with them over a period of years. And I found out more and more about these jewelers and the way they scam people. Wait till later in this video. Do not click off because they didn't just scam me, they scammed retail clients. They basically threatened to sue retail clients. So we'll get into that later. Let's just talk about my story first. Try to make it quick. The very first ever watch I flipped ever in my whole career was to them. I bought it and they quoted me 7,500. By the time I got there, I was excited, right? I was making a lot of money at 75. Showed too much excitement. They got me down to 63. I negotiated up, right? Because they said, oh, there's a link missing. I'm going to have to polish it, this and that. It's actually nice condition. Doesn't matter. If I walked it down the street, I would have got 7,500 all day long. But that's here nor there. Uh, they so they eventually buy it, and then we do business. There's a video on my channel about a Ulysse Nardin, and they claimed on the tag it said 18 karat gold. There's a supposed professional watchmaker there. The way they run their business, they have they're two people partners. There's one guy who's a jeweler, one guy who's a watchmaker, and that's a professional watchmaker and a professional jeweler. I'm using quotes because obviously they're not professionals. And they basically sold me this watch at 18 karat. Then we go on. I found out. I go to my watchmaker, and he goes, "That's not 18 karat. That's plated." So I go back to them. They go, "Well, the watch is worth it." They agreed first that they did say it was 18 karat gold. Then they said, "Well, the watch is still worth it." I'm like, that's like selling me a Lamborghini and finding out it's a Honda. Like, it doesn't even make sense. So they actually did give me the money back. I I would never say that to anybody. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I would say, I didn't know. I thought it was 18 karat gold. The guy's a watchmaker. He claims he serviced the watch. How do you service a watch and not know it's 18 karat? I don't know. Boggles my mind, right? So that's that. And it literally says electroplating on the friggin' case back. So I'm like, got to be a moron. So I was really pissed off. I was kind of wary from there on. We still did a lot of business together. I sold them the straw that broke the camel's back. I sold them a Cuban chain and a necklace, a rope chain, and it was a package deal. I said, I'm not going to give it to you at scrap price. I want full gold value. This is often in the business, meaning the full spot price at the time. And this is when gold was way back. But they did the deal. They shook on it. They paid me my money. They called me 5 days later. 5 days, they give me a call. They said, you owe me $280 because the rope chain, it's beat up, which I already told them it was beat up, and they saw it in person and they knew it. And then he said that that it was 10 karat instead of 14. I saw them test it in front of me. I saw them test it. So I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I always stand behind my product. I'm an honest guy. I'm trying to start out in this business. I don't want them telling people that I'm just lie about gold and this and that. So I said, you know what? Let me be a nice guy. I talked to two other dealers. So at the time, no longer, the store closed. But at the time where this location is, there's a jeweler across the street and then a jeweler two doors down, right? So at the time, I talked to both of these jewelers, his neighbors, and they both said, "You're good. You know what? You got offered. Uh, they tested everything. You got offered money. You exchanged. You don't need to do anything else. They have to do due diligence on their end." But I said, you know what? Let me go offer them the full money back, and they said that's more generous than anybody like should be. So I go in and expecting to be the nice guy in this situation. I said, I will give you the exact amount of money that you gave me for the pieces, and I just want them back. He goes, well, I polished it. I don't work for free on the Cuban chain. And I'm looking at him. I'm offering all your money. If it's 10 carats, just give it back to me, right? And then he goes, he didn't even show me any of the pieces. And then he goes, no, just give me $280. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, the difference between, first of all, 10 and 14 with that gram weight is 130. So I'm like, I don't know where you're getting $280 He's just trying to gouge me, right? He's just trying to steal. And I said, I'll either A, give you your money back or you keep the pieces. That's the only options. He starts screaming at me in front of all his employees, right? And everything. This is like straight out of a hardcore pawn or something, right? Like a skidded thing. Starts screaming at me. He goes, you can pay me now or next time we do business. I said, okay, next time we do business. It's not the fact of the $280. It's not the fact, it's the principle, the honesty, and the just lying, like just straight up lying and just being untruthful and just being a BS dealer, the worst of the worst. So that's where my story ends. I never go back in there. I said good riddance to them. And I thought they only pulled this stuff with me. I didn't realize they pull this stuff with everybody. What do I mean by that? Well, I was talking with another jeweler. And by the way, they have a real, like a professional watchmaker. A lot of jewelers around here in this area, Scottsdale, even further than Scottsdale, service their watches there, right? Because he's a supposed watchmaker. He's very cheap. That's why everybody does it. But I wouldn't trust him with anything, honestly. I wouldn't trust him with the Timex, let alone a Rolex, so, or anything of that sort. But anyway, so the the client that I'm talking, they're telling me the story. One of their clients came back to them. They said these people, these two brothers, their partners, they quoted them a price for a day date. They sold it at this. It wasn't a quote. It was an offer on this day date. They sold a day date to this company or this store. 3 weeks later, they get a phone call. The day date was after market. The bracelet was after market, and the case was 14 karat or this and that. Now, this is heard by a third party, of course, through their client. But this 100%, there's no doubt in my mind that it's these schmucks. So they said you owe us I think it was $3,000 or $4,000. You have to pay us the money, or we're going to sue you for faking or for falsing, whatever. First of all, if I was a watchmaker, I would be so embarrassed that I sold anything, right? Like I bought a watch from somebody or sold somebody a watch that wasn't 100%. I would be either very apologetic, or if I bought something, I would take that loss, obviously, right? I don't want to call a client threatening. They basically said, if you don't give us the $3,000, we're going to sue you and we're going to go after you. And you had, I don't even know what their claim is, that obviously that the day date wasn't what it was advertised. The guy's a watchmaker. You can open up a day date and tell if it's real or not easily. Anybody can. I can do it. And I'm not a watch. I don't claim to be a watchmaker. So obviously that they obviously scam people, right? I don't know their whole situation. If you go into their reviews, like for instance with the thumbnail there, they just straight up scam people. They will say anything to get the sale done. They'll fake advertise everything. They'll just lie, cheat people. In their reviews, there was one guy who's trying to look for a brand new watch. They sold him a watch. It was not brand new. It was been heavily polished. It was this and that. They just lie. Obviously, I bet they take a lot of these reviews down, the ones they can, and they pay for a lot of reviews. I bet you anything, because there's no way that these people do business straight up. There's a lot of stuff they said. They said, "Oh, I'll sell you a watch for 4,000." I shake their hand, then it changes, and at that point, it was pretty much the end. So yeah, I mean, it's just yeah. He goes, "Oh, I didn't realize you were talking about that watch." Obviously, whatever. So it doesn't have to be 47th Street to have horrible stuff.